In the infinite tapestry of multiverses, there are clashes that rewrite destiny. This is one of them. The Earth of Universe 73, a strange amalgamated dimension stitched by cosmic anomalies, pulsed with chaotic energy. Here, realities bled into each other, and the laws of physics had become more like suggestions. Heroes from different worlds found themselves stranded, adapted, or altered by the fabric of this dimension. In this chaos, two of the strangest anomalies were destined to meet: Plastic Man, the elastic enigma from the DC universe, and Saitama, the bold beacon of boredom from the world of One Punch Man. But this wasn't just another quirky crossover. Something far deeper was brewing beneath the surface. Plastic Man, once petty crook Patrick Eel O'Brien, had long since embraced his new lease on life as a shape-shifting hero. With a body made of living plastic, he was practically indestructible and absolutely unpredictable. But in this strange dimension, his powers began to evolve. The ambient quantum energy of Universe 73 reacted to his malleable molecules, amplifying his elasticity to cosmic levels. He could now bend through dimensions, twist around time, and even stretch logic itself. Yet with greater power came greater instability. His mind, always teetering between sanity and surrealism, began to fragment. His jokes became more unhinged. He no longer knew if he was real or just a living cartoon in someone else's multiverse prank. The Justice League couldn't reach him anymore, not in this reality, and so he wandered, laughing at the absurdity of existence, waiting for a purpose, waiting for someone worth fighting. On the other side of this chaotic world stood Saitama, the One Punch Man, the strongest being in his own universe. Saitama had grown bored. Every fight ended with a single blow. Every threat, no matter how apocalyptic, was crushed beneath his unassuming fist. Even after being transported to Universe 73 through an accidental black hole formed by one of Genos's failed experiments, Saitama didn't flinch. He shrugged, blinked twice, and continued shopping for sale items in bizarre alien supermarkets. But something was different here. His power hadn't diminished, but the rules had. Physics bent in strange ways. Monsters didn't stay dead. Time had, and worst of all, there was no true villain to defeat. Saitama's boredom, already immense, began to curdle into frustration. Then came the laughter, a loud, echoing, unhinged giggle that stretched through the multiversal cracks of Universe 73. Plastic Man had sensed him, a presence that didn't follow the logic of this world. A man who didn't take himself seriously. A man who, like him, broke the rules. Plastic Man slinked into view one lazy afternoon as Saitama sat on a bench beneath a twisted glass tree. The sky was green that day, and the ground felt like jelly. Plastic Man's body twisted into a stairwell, then a dragon, then a mop with googly eyes. He grinned with cartoonish glee. "You're not from around here, cue ball," he smirked, morphing into a mirror image of Saitama, only with a giant rubber chicken strapped to his back. Saitama glanced at him, unfazed. "You selling something?" "Nope, just sanity, but I'm all out." Plastic Man spun his head 360 degrees. "But you're something different. You don't care. You don't try. That's hilarious. That's offensive. That's..." His grin widened, eyes twitching. "A challenge." Saitama sighed. "Look, if you're a villain, get in line, or get it over with." Plastic Man exploded into 100 rubber duckies, then reformed like a wave of silly putty. "Oh, I'm no villain. I'm entertainment. And you, Mr. One Punch, are my new finale." Elsewhere, the cosmic fabric trembled. Dimensional observers, hidden beings like Mr. Mexwai and Watcher Uatu, gathered to watch. Even in the madness of multiversal collisions, a fight between two meta-defying beings was rare. One, a man who broke bones, the other, a man who broke reality. The stage was set. Saitama stood, stretching slightly, his expression blank, but mildly intrigued. "Fine, if you want to fight, I'll humor you. Just don't cry after one punch." Plastic Man grinned, his body spiraling into a spring. "Oh, Baldy, you have no idea how long I've waited for this." The winds of the shattered dimension howled as both beings faced each other. One calm, one chaotic, and somewhere deep in the folds of reality, the fabric of logic braced for impact. The battlefield was no battlefield at all, just an open, shifting space where gravity flickered and reality rippled like water. Floating chunks of city ruins orbited above a liquid sky. In the center, Saitama cracked his knuckles. Plastic Man danced in midair, morphing into a spring-loaded boxing glove the size of a bus. "You sure you want to do this?" Saitama asked calmly. "Only if you promise not to fall in love with my charm." Plastic Man launched the glove, twisting space as it hurled toward the hero. Saitama didn't flinch. His fist met the glove mid-air. Boom! A shockwave tore through the landscape, cracking islands of floating debris. But Plastic Man didn't break. Instead, his arm whipped back like a slingshot and reformed into a trampoline that launched dozens of stretchy clones of himself in all directions. Each clone wore a different outfit, one as a ninja, one as a ballerina, one with a giant "kick me" sign, but they all converged on Saitama in a whirlwind of cartoon chaos. They struck with mallets, pies, anvils, and missiles shaped like rubber chickens. Saitama stood still as they piled on. His expression said it all. He'd seen worse, much worse. "Okay," he said, dusting off a banana cream pie from his shoulder. "My turn." With a sudden whoosh, he dashed forward so fast that even Plastic Man's perception bent like taffy. His punch was fast, clean, and deceptively gentle. He landed it. One punch, right to Plastic Man's chest, but instead of flying backward, Plastic Man ripples, his body folded in like a sinkhole, absorbing the kinetic force and channeling it outward. The ground behind him shattered, floating islands collapsed, but he stood, reformed, grinning. "Surprise," he said, his chest now shaped like a crater. "I'm not made of bones, pal. You're punching a water balloon made of rubber logic." Saitama blinked. "Huh, that's new." Plastic Man coiled around him like a snake. "You're strong, stronger than anything, but I'm not anything. I'm a walking contradiction, and the punch that kills everything? It needs rules. I don't do rules." He tightened. "Try that again, see where it gets you." Saitama nodded once. "Okay." Boom. Another punch, stronger, sharper, more serious. Plastic Man exploded into fragments of goo, only to reform from the pieces mid-air into a massive version of Saitama himself, laughing. "Face it. You're trying to end a joke with violence. You're trying to punch through absurdity. I'm not a villain. I'm a punchline." Saitama's gaze narrowed. He crouched slightly, one hand behind, one forward. This time, no words, just resolve. The air around him cracked. Plastic Man started to say something clever, but he never finished. Saitama vanished from sight. In an instant, so fast not even light reacted. Saitama reappeared behind Plastic Man and delivered a punch so densely packed with force, it bent the surrounding space into a cone of compressed silence. Plastic Man's body contorted like spaghetti trying to escape a black hole. He didn't explode. He didn't die. He flattened into a two-dimensional smear on the fabric of reality itself. The smear trembled, twitched, then fizzled into a rubbery poof. Silence. No more jokes. No more chaos. Plastic Man, still immortal in essence, had been neutralized. His form stretched beyond coherence. He wasn't dead, but he couldn't return. Not until reality itself relaxed. Saitama exhaled. Guess it took more than one this time. He looked around at the empty chaos and scratched his head. Still bored, and with that he walked off, through floating ruins, stepping casually over pieces of collapsed logic, leaving the echoes of laughter and battle behind.